Hi, y'all. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us as we rock and roll. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the Moon Griffon Show, it's your opportunity to be a voice. We'll get to Megan and Newt and all that stuff up the road. Brandon's already got that ready to go. A lot of stuff on the national scene, some on the state scene, and one right here, Supreme Court race that we have going on right now. I'm not going to ring this because I don't know if it was proper to do this. Judge Marilyn Castle joins me. She's running for the Supreme Court. I didn't want to ring it because I didn't know if it was proper.
It's okay.
So there you go, Brandon. Now Brandon says, "What you laughing at?" Oh, you got one. All right. Just want to make sure anyway. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right, Judge. I'm gonna do this real quick. The race has turned. Some people call it ugly, nasty, whatever. The judge races is a political race. It's just part of the process. I hate to say that. I've seen a Supreme Court justice race in Monroe. That was the worst I've ever seen. What I'm watching right now is not even close. For people down here, it may be different. But just your thoughts on that, because I know it's been tough, and I know you got two candidates, and since it's down to two, it's one race. It's not a runoff. You know, it's basically down to that. But then some people started to say, "I can't believe the Supreme Court race is getting this tough." Just your thoughts.
Look, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of clutter. I have a record of 18 years, and I have a lot of support from people who know me and know my record and understand all the political maneuvers that are going on. So I feel very good about it because I'm not an unknown quantity. People know who I am, and I don't think some slick commercial is going to change their image of me. I tell people all the time, if you get in politics, you better not have thin skin, because if you do, you're in trouble. That's true.
You're in trouble. All right, then going back on the issues and the things that you're really running on. As a Supreme Court justice, what are you bringing? What do you think you're bringing? I mean, you've been a judge for a pretty good while. What are you bringing to the table when it gets to that particular position? Because that's the final stance a lot of times. It
is. And again, my motivation to run for a judge when I became a district judge is the same motivation I have now for the Supreme Court, which is that I think we can make our justice system much better. We have people in our system that still believe, and probably for good reason, that in some instances the outcome of their case depends on who they know or what judge the case is assigned to, or how much money
that could help or hurt me. But go ahead. When I get stopped by the policeman, I always go, "Okay, be a fan." I'm joking with you,
but people need to know that those are not considerations. And, I've said it before, sometimes we have to make very tough decisions. And sometimes we make decisions that make certain people unhappy. But our job is to follow the law, and we have to do that. And if we start playing favorites or trying to make decisions that we think are going to make us popular or help us politically, then we are really not doing our job as judges.
There's a big brouhaha out there right now about incarceration. We incarcerate too many people. I tell people, it depends on how you look at that. And they ask, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you're incarcerated on the law. I mean, if you got laws, marijuana, whatever the law is, and it says, and they come before you, there's laws that's what you're there for. You to take the law and apply it. Am I wrong?"
No, you're right.
Do we incarcerate too many?
Yes.
And if we do, what do we do about it? Because you got troubled people out there that are causing problems.
Well, one of the things that we have to do is we have to be a lot smarter about who we send to jail and then what we do with them after they're there. Because there are many nonviolent offenders that have serious drug issues. If you can get them off of that drug cycle, they're going to quit offending. The Department of Corrections has two very good drug treatment programs, Stephen Hoyle and Blue Walters, and I send people to there a lot because they work. Of course, the people have to be willing to do it. But we have to give options for them because the goal for us is to stop the cycle, the recidivism.
Yes,
that's what kills us, is the recidivism. And so, the worst thing as a judge is to send somebody to jail and think they're just going to be warehoused and then they're going to come out a better criminal, because most people who go to jail are coming out. It's a very small portion of them that go for life or for long term. And so you really have to worry about what are we going to do. And I will tell you, we've had some really good programs here in Lafayette Parish that have been in effect for about 6 years that include drug treatment, job training, and what we call transitional work. And when you look at the statistics from those programs, the recidivism rate in those programs is 22%. The recidivism rate for the rest of the state is 46%. So less, it's cut it more than
That's
half.
just people that keep coming back.
But what I'm saying is those programs can cut recidivism in half if you can get people into them and get them to buy off on it.
See, the judges and police officers and people involved in law enforcement go through so much, and I kind of look at it like they do the school system. Public school system gets everybody that comes in. The breakup of the home and dope. I call it dope. People call it, I call it dope, what it used to be. You go talk to employers, their biggest problem is finding people who can pass drug tests.
Exactly.
And by the way, I'm talking about educated, college-educated people. And so you're dealing with something that's really hard. That's why I'm asking. I mean, it all starts back at the home. And a breakup at the home is just turning to drugs and drugs and drugs. And then all of a sudden your life takes a different path. Y'all battling something that's really hard. That's why I ask, what do we do about the arrest stuff, incarceration? Because I'm hearing that's a problem, but I still say the law is being applied.
Well, you're right. I mean, there are deep social problems that drive the crime rate. I mean, it's poverty, it's lack of education. Those are deep social problems. But when they get to the court system, then we have to think about, well, what can we do to try our best to stop this cycle? One of the other problems that we are dealing with in the criminal justice system is mental illness. The largest mental institutions in our state are our jails. There are more mentally ill people housed in jails than in a hospital. And many of those people, again, are not violent offenders, but they have untreated mental illness. And so one of the initiatives we need to take is to try to get those people to where they are on regular treatment, because if they do, they will not reoffend. And that, again, is going to save our taxpayer money. They're not going to be incarcerated, and they're hopefully going to be able to be productive people. But again, it's a social problem that ends up in the court, and the court has to figure out the best way that they can to stop the social problem and get them back on track.
You know, the God-fearing country, the breakup of the family, has caused so many other things to be broke. And it's hard to put that genie back in the bottle. You got a tough job just like law enforcement.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And we see a lot of sad things. But
let me ask you another question. In your case of being a judge, you or anybody else, by the way, it's kind of tough if somebody comes before you and a person gets to go out and they do something else, but you based everything on the facts of everything that happened in the case. Once again, it's not a judge's fault because they let somebody go, because they based everything on a case. Well,
I mean, you have to be smart about it. When people are predators, you want them off the street.
Absolutely.
And that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Ma'am.
Because public safety always comes first. And that has to be our top priority, is keeping people safe. So, there are those segments of what we see that we just say, this is way too dangerous, and I'm sorry, but, you can't stay in society.
Sometimes there's a fine line. It's a tough call, I know. I know it's hard, too. It's got to be hard to sit there and do that.
I'm telling you what, sentencing is the hardest thing a judge does. You pray over it. You worry about it because, you're holding two lives in your hands. You're holding the life of the person you're sentencing, but you're also holding the life of the victim or the rest of society. And so, you have to be very measured about what you do. And while, you never want to give up on anybody, as I said, there are some people that are just so dangerous that we have no option.
You sound like my dad. My dad used to talk about tough love. Boy, it was tough. Why come my fanny was always red after he had all this tough love? But I guarantee you, I look back, those were the days changed my mind and changed what I could do.
You would be surprised, people would be surprised how many times I get thanked by somebody for sending them to jail. And you would think that never happens. But sometimes sending somebody to jail tells them I've hit rock bottom. They find out that who they thought were their friends are not their friends, and they realize that they've got to change their lives, or they're gonna waste it. And so surprisingly, there are people that come and thank us for what we do.
I'm gonna say this, you probably laugh at me, but it's okay. Everybody else does, as my daddy says. Probably be easier to be a Supreme Court justice than a judge. Well, and I'm saying that as a compliment. Well, because as a judge, you just explained it. The tough decisions as Supreme Court, you get in these cases, you're making a decision with 5 other judges. It's got to be a little bit easier. And what I mean by easier is the fact that when you make a decision, it's you sitting there all alone. In this case, you with 5 other people.
Well, let me just tell you what. You own every decision you make. It's not, you can't pawn it off on other people said it, so I went along. You own every decision you make. And so I don't think it's any easier. In fact, in some ways, I think it's tougher because Supreme Court is the court of last resort. And so we have to make sure that we really get it right, because that's what we're there for. The Supreme Court is there to make sure that everything that happens in the lower court is correct. So I don't think it's easy.
When I looked at it from the easier position, I'm sitting here thinking about you making a decision that affect two people's lives. In that case, looking at that, a lot of time it's not one life, it's many. The Supreme Court, you're going to get a wide variety of stuff. But I'm thinking with the experience you got as a judge doing what you're doing, it helps you prepare.
Well, absolutely. And like I said, Supreme Court only looks at a cold record. You look at a transcript, you look at, exhibits. You're not hearing any live testimony. Yep. So it's important, and that's why I believe my 18 years of experience as a district court judge really is necessary for this kind of position, because it's important to understand what happens in the trial court and what is the dynamic of the trial.
Anything else you want to tell the voters?
I just want to remind everybody that early voting is this week, and I want to point something out. We're a little hard to find, apparently, on the early voting ballot, and I was told this yesterday. The Supreme Court race is on the same page as the congressional race. It's in a second column. So don't skip the Supreme Court race. After you vote for Congress, on that same page, you have to vote for Supreme Court. So please look carefully. Don't skip us. And
people would think of the big races, and this is one of the big races.
Right.
That's what's sad. This really is a big race.
Right. But I'm number 64, and I'm right at the top of that second column. I'm easy to find if you just go to the second column, and I would appreciate everybody's vote.
All righty. I will let you go. Judge Castle, I wish you the best of luck. God bless.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you the best of luck. And by the way, the reason why I asked these questions, Brandon wants to run for judge. And he was really listening to you. I could tell.
I can tell. Brandon looks very judicious.
Brandon said if you had to work with Moon for as long as he has, you want to find something you can go run for. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you too.
All right. Quick break. Be back. More of the Moon Griffon Show. Don't go nowhere, folks. We're loaded and live. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. It's your opportunity to be a voice, folks, as we rock on. We'll get to Brandon. Let's do this. We're going to play to Megyn Kelly, Newt Gingrich. Some of you people that have seen it, we'll play it come out at 9:30.
Oh, I was going to say, we don't have enough time now.
No. Well, you didn't let me set it up, man. You didn't let me set it up.
I thought you were about to change plans on me.
No. We're going to change plans. We got to do what we got time. We do it come out. I just want you to hear this in case you didn't hear it. So tell a friend. It's pretty. I've never been a big Megyn person before the incident with Trump. There's no doubt she hates Donald Trump. To me, she's going to scorn him, and Fox is doing. Fox was planning on getting Trump too, and they're all in the media cahoots. It's amazing. They want to go after talk radio. They said when this is over, Brandon, talk radio had nothing to do with any of this stuff. What we ought to go after as a country is ABC, NBC, CBS. Throw in Fox if you want to. Washington Post, Times, whatever. CNN, those people ought to be run out of the United States of America. Not talk radio, but see, you got a lot of Republicans get mad at talk radio because they don't want the truth out there. They don't want to be conservative, Brian. They want to be a Republican in charge. Republican and conservatism is not even close together anymore. It's not even a match. You want it to be, and with some people it is. But what's happened is you got Republicans can't stand talk radio. We got to get them guys off the air. Why? So we can listen to more CNN and more MSNBC. By the way, Drudge Report, and I knew this was coming because I've been keeping up from afar. Trump's up in Florida 2, up in Ohio 4, within 3 in Pennsylvania. Talked to somebody, the national polls are just closing in. You're going to hear Megyn talk a lot about the poll. We got 40 polls showing he can't win. In other words, Megyn... Listen, when I played it, listen to Megyn just throwing all this stuff. And Newt Gingrich took her to task. Newt Gingrich took her to task about she's in this. And then, wait till you get to end up when Megyn tells him he needs to go deal with his anger issues. She looks like a host on CNN. But then again, what is Fox? What are they trying to do? By the way, Brandon, just for people to know, the DOJ employees, Department of Justice employees, gave 97% of their donations to Hillary Clinton. You don't tell me, folks, you're going to elect an evil person, somebody who breaks the law every chance they get. Department of Justice could have laid her out and put her in jail and didn't. Department of Justice employees give 97% of their donations to Hillary. And when the Department of Justice needs to come through, what do? They go with Hillary. Big money to Clinton. Government workers give big money to Clinton. Why? Man, how does it not like the money you make in a retirement? You never have to go through a depression, a recession, or nothing. Of roughly $2 million that federal workers from 14 agencies spent on presidential politics, Brandon, $2 million, $1.9 million, 95% went to the Hillary Clinton. I wonder how much Megan's giving her. I'm just asking a question, folks. Just asking. And the DOJ, Department of Justice, 94% went to Hillary. $286,797 went to Clinton. $8,756 went to Trump. Department of Justice employees. This whole thing is rigged. The whole thing is, but you know what? The American people show up. You know, I would love to see all these high turnouts in these places be because they're sick and tired of the establishment. Folks, the establishment is a leftward-leaning, Marxist, socialistic grab in the United States of America, and they got a bunch of Republicans mixed in, unfortunately. It's I just keep watching this. Folks, I got eyes I can see. I got only one ear, but I can hear out of it. I hear better out of my one ear than some of you hear out of your two. You know? And I got a brain and I'm trying to use it. Versus people that have eyes to see, cannot see, ears that, and don't care about how evil. You don't put evil people in powerful positions. We just saw what happened. But I really think Hillary's evil way more than Obama. Obama's just a Marxist. By the way, border flood before the vote. They piling in here, Brandon. Piling in here. I wonder why. And Michelle Obama, who downed Trump, openly promotes rap artists that do sexual, date rape songs and all that stuff. And that's what she promotes that came to the White House. But Trump's a bad person. All on a spin from the press, folks. Trump pops Florida. He's leading. Up in 4 in Ohio. Pulls it within 3 in Pennsylvania. There's plenty of time left, by the way. Got to take a break. When we get back, Megan and Newt. You'll love this. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Oh, by the way, folks, let me say this real blunt. I know all y'all, not all y'all. That's wrong. I know some of y'all want me to tell you how to vote. Okay. On amendments, they're on my Facebook at Moon Griffon. You can go to KPEL's website. You can read about the amendments. They're self-explanatory. I don't vote for many of them or any of them. I'm not. I don't think they do anything. I don't think they do anything to help us. You want to vote for them, vote for them. Okay. Same thing with the Senate race. And correct. Listen to me. I've gotten some people, and it's just a few. A lot of people want me to tell them how to vote. I don't want to tell you how to vote. I've done it all my life. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm an issue-oriented guy. But here's what I don't like. When I've had 2 or 3 people to email me, and then when I didn't respond to them and tell them how to vote, rip my damn head off. I'm not conservative. I ought to be out there telling everybody. I'm so disappointed in you. Well, then be disappointed in me. Sometimes my kids get disappointed in me. Sometimes my wife. I'm not telling you how to vote. My God. You got a brain. You got ears to hear and eyes to see. Okay? Privately, when I run into somebody may ask me. I told y'all, it's not my job to tell you how to vote. By the way, I'm not voting for Hillary. Does that help you? I'm not voting for Scott Angel. I'm considered the same type. Does that help you any?
How about Foster Campbell?
And Bananas Foster cannot get my vote. Okay, y'all know that now. But, man, listen. You know, it gets down to 2, then I take more of a stance. But, I mean, I'm getting ripped for no reason at all. 0 reason for me to get ripped because I didn't tell somebody how to vote. Now, all of a sudden, I'm not a conservative. I think one of them said, you're not much of a Christian. Well, that's your opinion. I don't base my Christianity on what people think. I compare what God says. God knows what I am and what I ain't. And he made both sides of me. But, you know, I'm not trying to freak out on anybody. I'm being cool about this because at first I said, why is somebody ripping my head off you, Mr. Conservative? I don't mention their names. Mm-hmm. But it just doesn't make any sense for somebody. But if you want to rip me because I'm not telling you how to vote. Okay? I told you what I do on amendments. Brandon, you knew that. Brandon, he said, hey, Moon, what about this one? He said, I know you probably go vote no on all of them because that's what you do. But I'm open about it. I don't think any amendment changes anything. It doesn't change anything about what we. You think the amendment we're going to vote on is going to change the tax task force from telling Bill Edwards to raise more taxes? No. We got a spending problem. So all this amendment stuff doesn't mean a whole lot to me. If it means something to you, fine, vote for it. Most of them pass anyway, which is another thing. We don't even know when you don't know what amendment means, it's going in the Constitution. You don't vote yes if you don't know what it means. And sometimes they word them and they don't really do anything. They don't affect anything in my book. But if you want to vote, anyway, if you want to get mad at me, that's fine. He likes this candidate. Y'all always assume this stuff.
You know what it feels like sometimes in voting on these amendments? It almost feels like the state government's giving you an opportunity to screw it up instead of them. When you send them there
Brandon,
to go and legislate. And
Brandon, you're very astute to the fact, I'm not saying to me, but astute. The reason the legislature throws that to us is because they want to say, y'all voted for it. I'll give you an example. The amendment we voted to make sure that all the gambling money, lottery money goes to education is in the, it got to go there. Well, you know what they did? It was $100 million. They put $100 million from the lottery in there. They took $100 million out and put it back in the general fund. That's all they did, but hey, we voted for it. And the legislatures would go out there and say, I voted for gambling. It was supposed to go to education. Never was. There was never a bill written. It was a perception. Well, after they got their butts ripped, they said, you know what, let's get out of this. And that's what happens with these amendments. So I'm not falling for any of them. Okay? I'm not saying it's not a good one to vote for.
That being said, for me personally, and me and my wife and I went through every single amendment last night. You ought to go through every single one and just
Brandon, they really these are not that hard to read.
No.
And I don't think I ought to be blamed for not. The only thing I'll take a little blame for is because I really tried to get some people to come on here and explain it. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to even come on and explain it. I found out with CB, God bless him, when he was living. He quit coming on here explaining to people.
But you know the thing that's great about the article that you posted, and it's the same one that you can find on our KPEL website, kpel965.com. If you just type in constitutional amendments in the search bar, it'll bring it up. It gives it to you, and then it breaks it down in layman's terms, and it gives you, if you're voting for it, what you're voting for, and if you're voting against it, what you're voting against. So it gives you a proponent and an opponent point of view.
Because somebody can't understand everything.
I know.
Don't think because I do this for a living, I understand everything. I've never gotten on and said, listen to me, I'm the smartest man since God. I'm not. Okay? I think I got a better perception in it because it's what I do a little more, and I know that's what people are thinking. Well, you always, that's why and that's fine. I'll run into somebody, I may tell them privately, but I didn't want to get into all that. I'm telling you on the amendments, if I vote for an amendment, it's going to be luck because I don't believe in those amendments. I don't believe in what they're doing to the Constitution. So I'm not voting for all that mess, and it don't fix anything anyway. Tell me, we voted for 27,000 new amendments in the last 10 years. Tell me how it affected your life in a positive way. And if you name one, good for you, because I can't name any. All right, let's jump gears, Brandon. We may have to go a little longer in the segment.
Well, I think we should go ahead and take the break a little bit early, and that way we leave a good enough segment.
I'll let you get the phones, and then we'll come back and do it, because I do want to get to the Newt Gingrich, Megyn Kelly, CNN's Megyn Kelly. I know Brian's looking at me and said, she's with Fox. She ought to be with CNN. So I'm just telling you, CNN's Megyn Kelly.
I'm not on
the Clinton.
I'm not taking up for her.
She sounded like a Clinton News Network all over last night.
I'm not taking up for her.
I mean, and you can say what Gingrich, whether you like him or not, is a very smart, brilliant guy. He really is. Now, look, I go up now with Newt, but I never question how smart he is. And by the way, when you get to the thing, and we'll get to it in a few minutes, you'll hear Megyn talking about the pose. I post 40 posts. Just pounding on Trump. And then to tell Newt that he has anger issues. And by the way, after this interview, I didn't watch this. It was told to me by a person I really trust. They said, then they interviewed a Clinton person. Oh, nice and sweet. And just a beautiful, nice, sweet interview with the Clinton people. The most evil person that would ever take the presidency behind Obama, to keep his policies going, which suck, which are bad. He doesn't have but winning anything. His economy, jobs, Iran, the borders, healthcare, total disaster. But people that can't see, have ears and can't see, ears that can't hear and eyes that can't see, and a brain that won't function properly. And I mean, when I say that I mean people that can think and won't think. I'm not talking about somebody that can't function. It's just bad. All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back. We will play when we get back. We won't go into these tangents again. By the way, WikiLeaks shows Obama busted, president lied to nation. Really? It would be, how many times has he lied and got a 50-something% approval rating? Because people start voting for evil and liars. Remember, they voted for Barabbas over Jesus. Has times changed? Not really. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. All right. Megyn Kelly, Newt Gingrich on Megyn Kelly last night. And just listen to it. It starts off sweet, and then it goes. And I can say going in the tank. It was pretty good back and forth here.
More, Newt Gingrich. He served as Speaker of the House. He's a Trump supporter and author of the book Treason. Great to see you, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for being here. So
it's good to be back.
I mean, with Cook and many other nonpartisan independent pollsters now saying that the Senate is likely lost to the Republicans, what does that say? I mean, if Donald Trump loses this White House race and the Republicans lose the Senate, does that suggest that the Republicans nominated the wrong candidate at the top of their ticket?
The next 2 weeks are a contest of two parallel universes. I just listened to that report. First of all, I used to hang out with Charlie Cook when he would explain that Donald Trump was hopeless and would not get the nomination. I like Charlie. That doesn't mean he's infallible. But let's take the report we just got. Republicans are actually outvoting Democrats in Florida. They're outvoting Democrats in Pennsylvania. That's unprecedented. They've cut the Democratic lead.
You predict a win in Pennsylvania?
I think they might.
Really? Do you think Trump's going to win Pennsylvania?
Look, all I can report to you right now is they're outvoting the Democrats in early voting, which is also true in Florida, which is unprecedented.
But all of the polls in Pennsylvania have her winning.
What?
All of the polls in Pennsylvania have her ahead.
I know. I just told you we have two alternative universes right now. In Iowa, for example, the Democrats are 50,000 votes behind where they were with Barack Obama in turnout. The governor is very confident we're going to carry Iowa, which Obama carried last time. I could just carry you through case after case like this. In Minnesota, we're almost certainly going to win the congressional seat up around Duluth, which is a very Democratic area, but it deeply dislikes Hillary Clinton. And represent now.
But let me just ask you. Let me just ask you, because you say it's two alternate universes. I mean, these are sort of small examples of how he might be ahead in early voting and so on. But I'm telling you that the Fox News decision desk just moved Iowa, that you just mentioned, Indiana, 2nd Congressional District in Maine. All of them moved left, moved more likely to vote for Hillary Clinton. And in fact, all of the moves that have been on this map over the past 3 weeks by Larry Sabato, by Cook, by the Fox News decision desks, these are nonpartisan outlets that are just trying to call the electoral
scoreboard. Not nonpartisan outlets. Every outlet you described as part of the establishment.
Fox News, really? Are we? I don't think so. And they every state they've moved it to the left, towards Hillary. And you tell me whether that's all made up.
No, I think they're two alternative universes. You have a poll which suggests that she's going to get a Barack Obama turnout among African Americans. I don't think that's going to happen. You have a Washington Post ABC News poll where they took out 8% of the vote because they didn't like the way it voted. Look, I've been around long enough. I remember when the Detroit Liberal newspaper on the Sunday before the election said John Engler would lose by 14 points. He won the governorship that year. I don't take polls as seriously as people who've never run for office.
But your candidate,
I can tell you.
Your candidate loves them and has touted them from the beginning. And he's been behind in virtually every one out of the last 40 polls that we've seen over the past month. That's the reality.
Look, if you want to assume the election's over, skip the next 2 weeks and we can talk about the future.
I'm not assuming anything. I'm asking you whether you believe your candidate's behind based on these numbers and what it says about the down-ballot races.
I believe the odds are at least 1 in 3 and maybe better than that the difference in intensity and the difference in determination and the degree to which Hillary Clinton is clearly the most corrupt, dishonest person ever nominated by a party all mean that the odds are pretty good she's not going to win. Now, I actually believe that. This is not just because I'm for Donald Trump. I actually believe the American people
let me ask you about that.
By this.
So let's assume she is corrupt, right? She was just as corrupt 3 weeks ago and 3 months ago. And she would have been corrupt and collapsing physically on September 11th of this year. And her poll numbers tanked. But then you know what happened. He had a rough first debate. He took the bait on Alicia Machado. He stayed in that trap for a week. The Access Hollywood tape came out, which was not produced by Hillary Clinton. That was Trump. on camera talking about grabbing women.
Look, I just heard you go through this with Governor Pence. I get it. I know where you're coming from. But let me point out something to you.
Sure.
The three major networks spent 23 minutes attacking Donald Trump that night and 57 seconds on Hillary Clinton's secret speeches. You don't think this is a scale of bias worthy of Pravda and Izvestia? I mean, you want to know why Donald Trump's had a rough time?
If Trump is a sexual predator, that is...
He's not a sexual predator.
Okay,
you
that's
can't
your
say
opinion.
that.
I'm not taking a position on it.
You could not defend that statement.
I'm
sick and tired of people like you using language that's inflammatory, that's not true.
Excuse me, Mr. Speaker.
Donald
you have
Trump
no idea whether it's true or not. What we know is that there are at least...
Neither do you.
That's right, and I'm not taking a position on it, unlike
yes, you are. When you use the words, you took a position.
So what
and I think it's very unfair of you to do that, Megan.
Incorrect.
I think that is exactly the bias people are upset by.
I think that your defensiveness on this may speak volumes, sir.
No,
what I said is...
No,
let me make my point, and then I'll give you the floor. What I said is, if Trump is a sexual predator, then it's a big story. And what we saw on that tape was Trump himself saying that he likes to grab women by the genitals and kiss them against their will. That's what we saw. Then we saw 10 women come forward after he denied actually doing it at a debate to say that was untrue. He did it to me. He did it to me. We saw reporters. We saw people who had worked with him, people from Apprentice and so on and so forth. He denies it all, which is his right. We don't know what the truth is. My point to you is, as a media story, we don't get to say the 10 women are lying. We have to cover that story, sir.
Oh, sure. Okay, so it's worth 23 minutes of the three networks to cover that story. And Hillary Clinton, in a secret speech in Brazil to a bank that pays her $225,000, saying her dream is an open border where 600 million people could come to America. That's not worth covering.
That is worth covering.
You want to go back through the tapes of your show recently? You are fascinated with sex, and you don't care about public policy. Now, that's what I get out of watching you tonight.
You know what, Mr. Speaker? I'm not fascinated by sex, but I am fascinated by the protection of women and understanding what we're getting in the Oval Office. And I think the American voters would like to know.
And therefore, we're going to send Bill Clinton back to the East Wing because, after all, you are worried about sexual predators.
Yeah, listen, it's not about me. It's about the women and men of America. And the poll numbers show us that the women of America in particular are very concerned about these allegations and in large part believe that they are a real issue. And don't dismiss the women summarily.
Do you want to comment on whether the Clinton ticket has a relationship to a sexual predator?
We on the Kelly File have covered that story as well, sir. I will tell you the polls. I just want to hear
you use the words. I want to hear you use words. Bill Clinton, sexual predator. I dare you. Say Bill Clinton, sexual predator.
Mr. Speaker,
disbarred by the Arkansas bar. Disbarred by the Arkansas bar. $850,000 penalty.
Excuse me, sir. We on the Kelly File have covered the Clinton matter as well. We've hosted Kathleen Willey. We've covered the examples of him being accused as well, but he's not on the ticket. And the polls also show that the American public is less interested in the deeds of Hillary Clinton's husband than they are in the deeds of the man who asks us to make him president, Donald Trump. We're going to have to leave it at that, and you can take your anger issues and spend some time working on them, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for being here.
And you too.
All right. Now, how you like it at the end? She couldn't handle it, folks. She's never been able to handle it. She can't handle it. Take your anger issues. And you can tell, hates Donald Trump since the first debate and hadn't let up. She called Trump a sexual predator, then denied she said that. I just heard it on the tape. We know Trump's a sexual predator. The accusations from women, why didn't they come forward 10 years ago and 20 years ago? You know, Bill Clinton, his was worse. What's worse? Hearing Trump say something or watching Hillary Clinton beat the living hell out of these women. Just beat them to death, called them every trashy thing in the book, ruined their lives. It's amazing. Megyn needs to be on CNN, folks. So Fox, see, the problem is, and Nuke was right, you know, they're talking about the elite media. Fox is drifting in that area, that's my opinion, with people, with shows like Megyn. They just thought that they're going to drift in that same area. She brought up polls. I'm reading polls right now showing totally opposite what she said. And if the polls happen to be right and Hillary wins, then, you know, maybe she'll be happy with that. You know, it's, they don't talk about Obamacare right now. Wow, if the press was running it. If this was Bush or somebody else that ran, pushed Obamacare, and it was Bush care. Woo! They'd be ripping it every day, going to people, find out who's going down every day. I've never seen a campaign like this. I've seen the press beat up on people, but not like this. And then Republicans, Scott Angel and Jay Darden types, that can constantly knife the Republican candidates and don't want to get involved in it. Yeah, Jay Darden and Scott Angel, that old conservative, man. That's a real conservative. You know, the knifing. And that's he's being Angel and Darden by these Republicans. It's anger management. Anger management. That's amazing. Anger management. And old Megan, she don't need anything, folks. She just needs a little more makeup and butch her hair a little bit more, and hey, she's ready to roll. You know, she's ready to roll. It's a shame. This is what it's come to, though. This is what it's come to. This whole thing has come down to this. And boy, just as me and you watch this, it's frustrating, folks. When you have to run against the media and the press, it's very frustrating. And it seems like to me Trump has to run against Fox and everybody else for that matter. That's what I think's going on. You know, Megan's just part of it. She's still upset about what Trump did with her. I'm not saying Trump was right or wrong. I'm just saying she's still upset. She may have some anger issues she needs to work with. And I like Newt's response. Maybe you need to see some anger management too. You know, Newt, somebody said that Newt loses it. I don't know if Newt lost it. It's not like Megan lost it to me. It's but this is what they're having to deal with. They're having to deal with this every day, no matter what station they go on. Folks, I hadn't really watched Fox, God, in 10 years. I don't need Fox to tell me what to think. And after I watch this, I'm glad I haven't. All right, we got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. When we come back, I got open lines for you. I hope you give me your comments, whether you agree or disagree with the good-looking hosts. All right, folks, you heard the deal with Megan and Newt. I'd love to get your comments. I mean, you had mine, and that's just my thoughts. Word is I get is that Megan's contract is done with Fox anyway. She's auditioning for CNN and MSNBC. And that would make sense to me. Because, I mean, she has jumped on the bandwagon. There's no doubt about it. I've had some interesting emails. Some of them I can't use the language they sent me, so I won't tell you what they think of Megan. It's just if you go back and listen, I'm not going to play it again. But if you go back and listen to it, and it's all over the place. I think Newt Gingrich was right on money in most of the stuff that he talked about. He was, and a lady just sent me a deal. Thanks for the replay of Gingrich Kelly. I don't know what's happened to Megan. I stopped watching her show some time ago. I think people are starting to watch it. My gut feeling is her ratings are sinking. I don't know that. I ain't seen it because I know I saw one where the TV ratings are tumbling anyway right now, and everything, football included. But they're just tumbling. So anyway, your comments, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Does Megan, sounds like to me she was all pro-Hillary, all pro, look at the polls, look at the polls, look at the polls. Let me tell you what, folks, I'm going to vote, and I'm not looking at one poll. I'm going to vote, don't care what the latest poll said. I'm going to vote, I could care less what the elite want us to do. You know? We got multi-millionaires telling us how to vote and how to think. I don't need one to tell me how to vote or to think. Middle-class people like me do it on our own. You know, I don't think, and the lady that wrote and all these people writing it quit watching her a long time ago. I just think people have had enough of her, too. She's no different than the rest of them. But on all fairness, since I don't really watch her, because I quit a long time ago, you know, maybe I'm the worst person to make a judgment on Megyn Kelly. Because the only two times I've seen much of Megyn Kelly is when they went after each other in the first debate. Okay, Brandon? And then this time. Because I don't watch her. So I'm not probably, there are people that listen to the program that watch Megyn Kelly that like her. And may think she's right. There's people listening to the program think she's wrong. You got a better judgment on Megyn Kelly personally than I do. I ran into somebody outside of I'm not going to tell you who it was, Brad. They went, I'm glad you played it. That dang Megan, I can't stand her, but I love her hair. It was a woman. Let me back up. It was a lady. She did. That's what she said. But I love her hair. I'll narrow it down for you. It was a blonde. There's about 8 blondes over there, so you can figure out which one it is. All right, let's get some calls in here. Let's go to Roger on the road. Roger, thanks for calling. How you doing?
I'm good, Moon. How are you?
Doing fine, sir. Tell me something I don't know.
Well, I put Megyn Kelly in the same box as I put Ted Cruz. My mama and daddy taught me that just if you walk up to the big bully on the playground and punch him in the nose, don't get butthurt and go whining when you get your butt whooped afterwards. And both Megyn Kelly and Ted Cruz come at Donald Trump with lies, and they both got knocked back down, and now they're both butthurt about it. Frankly, what Donald Trump needs to do is he needs to pull an Arnold Schwarzenegger. He needs to say, listen, I've not always been married. I've not always been a great guy. I apologize for anything I've done, if I've offended anybody. But listen, you're electing me for the man I am now, not the man I used to be.
Yeah.
And if you put Bill Clinton back in the White House, he's going to go around raping women again, and Hillary Clinton's going to be covering it up all over again, just like she did before.
Yeah, Bill's age is going to slow him down some. Let me just leave it at that. I know it's just the one-sidedness of the press, including Megyn. Let's go to Norman at Poachy Bridge. How you doing, Mr. Norman?
I'm doing good, Moon. Let me tell you a little quick story. Back in the last century, when Bill Clinton first came on the national scene, I didn't know his wife's name in those days. Well, we went up to Arkansas to visit with my wife's stepmother. She had just retired or was about to retire from some state office up there. And I asked her, I said, what do you think about Bill Clinton? She wouldn't say anything. And then after a little while, driving back down the Poachy Bridge, it got me to thinking. I said, that's a righteous Christian woman. If she can't say anything good about anybody, she's not going to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of been guided by my view of the Clintons by what that lady told me. And that's all I got for you today.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Yeah, sorry about that, Brandon. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. And don't forget, Walk-On's official sports bar, the Moon Griffon Show. We love Walk-Ons. You will too. Drew Brees says it best. Invest it. He's part owner now. Invest it in a business I could proudly take my kids to. And you can. I'm not talking about the bar. I'm talking about the sports part and the fun part and the food part. And there's a lot to it when you're going to Walk-Ons. There's one near you, I can promise you. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to go be part of the program. All righty. The great debate is, I think one way about this, somebody thinks another way. Give you an example. Megyn never brought up that Michelle Obama invited numerous rap artists to the White House. Okay? She never brought that up. That means the president let them in there. She said, recognizing them for artistic contribution to minority communities. The rappers were, let's say, Rick Ross, who glorifies date rape. Common, you ought to see the lyrics on this, and I'm not going to say it on the deal. N-word, sexual explicit lyrics all over the White House. But, hey, she thinks what Trump said is ridiculous. This is in front of a kid. Jay-Z, who proclaims I got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one. This is right there in the White House with her daughters. Beyonce includes far cruder and more explicit language. It's amazing. She sings about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky in songs. See how it's covered both ways. Megyn didn't cover that. I wonder why Megyn didn't cover that or they didn't talk about that. They're in the White House. They've been in the White House 8 years. Megyn, did you miss that? Of course she missed it. She missed it on purpose. Too busy trying to hammer Donald Trump. And like I said, I just got a report. They say her contract's due and that she's probably auditioning for CNN or something like that. By the way, it doesn't surprise me at all. But you had that. You had that going on in the White House. You had lyrics from these so-called artists talking about rape, bitchs, and just unbelievable what's come out of the White House. Megyn never covered that story. Megyn never brought that up. What is that doing in the White House? Look what they think. Look what they singing about. Women in the White House is glorifying these artists. Michelle Obama's glorifying these artists. Megyn says nothing. Nobody says anything about the Obamas. They can run health care, run the economy, run the borders, run the country. They don't say a thing. Trump comes along. And by the way, they don't say much about Trump until he's got the presidential nomination. Then everybody hates him. I don't think everybody hates him, though. Trump's Hollywood Walk of Fame star vandalized with sledgehammers. The left just, I'm telling you, folks, the left nuts up. And their people nut up. The people protesting in the streets, and they're going to be tripping out and still tripping out when all this is said and done, tripped out on Obama. It's going to be the left. People on the left. Uneducated, uninformed people. You know, it's an amazing thing to watch. But Megan's not covering that. You know, not covering it at all. Incredible. All right, let's go to phone lines. Willie in Benton. How you doing, Willie?
I'm doing good. How you doing today, Moon?
Willie, I'm hanging in there despite me.
Yeah. Well, I just want to let you know I'm a retired state trooper from up here in northwest Louisiana and made several friends with the Arkansas state troopers.
Yeah.
And I won't forget that when Bill Clinton was first running for president of the United States, my Arkansas state trooper friends were calling me on the phone urging me to vote for him for president. And I said, why? And they said, we've got to get him out of the state capital in Arkansas before he embarrasses us all to death.
I had people say that in Arkansas, too. They said, man, we want him out of here. Best thing we can do for vote for him to get him out of here.
Yeah, they wanted to put him on the rest of the nation, but get him out of the state of Arkansas.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that story more than once.
Yeah.
But the bottom is, your bottom is Obama's wife brings in these so-called artists singing about bitch itches, singing about rape, singing about sex, singing about all this stuff. And they sitting there clapping and honoring them. And then Donald Trump comes on. Boy, we upset about something he said. Unbelievable. And by the way, that's for their kids to watch. Their kids. But they're self-righteous. They're self-righteous. Son, how you doing? We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. By the way, and I brought this up to Brandy's looking for it. I got home yesterday. Nobody was at the house. I had a lot of work to do because I just moved a bunch of stuff back in the house. And I said, you know what, I'm going to sit here 20 minutes on the sofa. I put the TV on, and I'm flipping through, and it's Tim Tebow. I'd love to hear about Tim, so I tuned in. It was First Take with Stephen A. Smith. I'd rather watch two dogs fight. I mean, I don't like that ESPN. These people are so ignorant. And they interviewing Tebow on a book, and Stephen A. starts on him because he's playing baseball and dogging him out. And I got, wow. Wouldn't do that to Colin Kaepernick, I bet you. Would probably praise an idiot. I couldn't believe it. I said, Tebow, why do you even go on these ignorant programs? I mean, Stephen A., Tebow did a dang good job of coming back, but the other guy started too. Why are you taking somebody's place and you're 29? It's just ridiculous what the press does. Y'all vote with the press. They're eventually going to get you too. Let's go. New Iberia, Louisiana. Mr. James, welcome to the Moon Griffon Show.
Hello, Moon. Listen, I can't really have any empathy for Trump, even though I'm going to vote for Trump because I really can't stand the liberals and Hillary Clinton.
I understand that. Hey, by the way, I understand what you're saying.
Well, let's remember. Okay, somebody brought up Ted Cruz earlier. They were trying to, bring him into this whole Megyn Kelly thing and disparage his name. Let's remember that it's Donald Trump who went after Ted Cruz and accused him of being with all these other women. And his friend, Donald Trump's friend with the Inquirer, put that on the Inquirer. When there's no proof whatsoever, and everybody knows it's a lie, and he kept calling Ted Cruz lying Ted and all this stuff.
I remember that.
Can't really, karma comes back to bite you.
Oh, it always does.
So now it's coming back to bite Donald Trump.
Well, the thing about it is, my buddy always says, when you're going up the ladder, be careful of the people that you're stepping on, because you might have to you're going to eventually come back down and need them. And you have to look at him again. So, yeah, look, have a look. Trump's not the perfect candidate. He's just a hell of a lot better than what we on the other side. And I'm not going to cut Cruz. There was a couple of things I was disappointed in Cruz, but I've always been a Cruz guy. That hadn't changed my thoughts on Ted Cruz. Really hadn't.
Well, I think if
but you got to remember,
Ted Cruz
people
was in there against Hillary Clinton, at least we'd have a chance. With Trump in there, she's going to win it.
I'm not betting on that yet. We'll wait and see. I got news for you. It's not having a chance. We don't beat Hillary. I don't care who the candidate would be. We are going to be shot down in ways you never dreamed of yet. I'm just telling you, this woman, these people are evil. It's like the mafia getting ready to take over the presidency. And people now think evil is good and good is evil, and that's our problem right there. It's a spiritual problem. It's a bad spiritual problem. Anyway, I got to run, James. Appreciate the call. I have eyes to see, ears to hear. We know you take advantage of it. I mean, gee whiz. All right, Jeff in Lake Charles. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, pretty good, Moon. Just the last conversation and a couple before on Ted Cruz. I'm the Ted Cruz guy, too, along with you. And all these people need to be held to accountability when Trump gets in there. And I really think he's going to get in there. Everybody I bump into, we've had enough. I mean, you go on and on and on. And people are taking action on the sports issues as well. They're not spending money. They're not watching. And I'm just an average guy, but you can feel it. I mean, you can see it, feel it, and there's tangible evidence that they're not. People are getting the message, and I don't care who gets in there, Trump, anybody. They've got to be held their feet to the fire.
I have no problem if Mr. Trump gets in and we hold his feet to the fire. I have no problem with that. I think it's what we ought to do. But I wish we would have held Obama to the fire because this would be a 20-point race right now. I wish we'd have held him to the fire, really.
Well, that's why I think a lot of these politicians are going to be out of there. And I'm talking about the ones that have been in there for a while and are part of the problem. And again, I'm an average guy, but I mean, the word is getting around. If you got half a mind, the same sentiment is running everywhere. So there's going to be a big change coming, and it needs to be.
Well, we'll see. Thank you, man. Appreciate the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Miss Kathy in New Iberia. How you doing, Kathy?
Good morning, darling. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Ted Cruz. I had a major issue with Ted Cruz.
Okay.
When all of that big fight started, first off, I consider all of them part of the problem, are the Republicans that have been in Congress that don't stand up for any kind of conservative issues. They did the same thing when they started running for president. And Ted Cruz's, one of his supporting PACs are the ones that started the attack against Trump's family. Ted Cruz never stood up and said, that is wrong. That needs to be stopped on any side, on both sides. Mm-hmm. He never said a single word. But when Trump responded going after his family, then he's all up in arms. Mm-hmm. He could have stopped it to begin with had he been the responsible person in the room. Same thing with they all worried about Trump making the promise that if you don't make it, win the nomination, then you're going to support whoever the Republican candidate is.
Yeah, I remember that.
They all had a fit. The first person they went after was Trump. Trump, you got to promise this. You got to promise this. And not a damn one of them, pardon my French, stood up afterwards. We're all listening to their little sad stories about how we all can't support Trump. You can't support Trump.
I think
support a communist woman.
I think you bring up a good point. They all promised to support because they thought Trump would say he wouldn't. He said he would. They got their rear ends tortured, and now they won't do it. And by the way, is damn a French word? I'm asking. I didn't know. Is it a French word? Go Tigers. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us as we rock and roll last segment of the day. Of course, your opportunity to be a voice is always out there. And I didn't get to this, the tax task force is what they call it. They're calling it that. The headline's Tax Task Force closed the final plan for simplifying unstable system in Louisiana. What that means is higher taxes for you and me to stabilize government, not to stabilize us. It's a joke. John Hilario's on it. Jay, the tax man, Darden's on it. Why don't they put Scott Agel on it? He'd have fit on that sucker too. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Let's see. Let's go to the phone lines. Cornelius, what's up?
Hey, Big Bad Moon and the old handler back there. I heard John Kennedy wants to give him a pay raise, so I don't know you're going to do that, you know.
Give John Kennedy a pay raise? What you talking about?
No. Brandon.
Okay. My bad. All right, my bad. I'm with you now. You got me. What's up?
Okay, all right. But, Moon, I'm looking forward to seeing you Friday with the best stop from Scott, meats and sweets and stuff. So they had you coming last week, but you're coming this week. So.
No, it was always the 28th.
No, well, they missed. I don't know.
It wasn't no big deal. Easily fixed.
Yeah, we missed you yesterday. They had to work on the tire, so we couldn't hear you. But the old governor's going to be in town here in Alexandria downtown with your friends Bananas Foster, so they're going to be here in town soon.
Well, you need to go over there. Just watch where you're walking. I don't want you to step on a banana peel and slip. All right, Cornelius. Thanks. Appreciate the call. Let's move on. Lafayette we go. Mr. Barry, how you doing?
Good morning. Hey, Moon, did you happen to see Hillary this morning getting her birthday cake from Univision?
No, and I'm thankful I didn't see Hillary doing anything.
Well, no, I mean...
I didn't.
Well, this is my question. I understand why Univision is honoring Hillary and giving her a birthday cake, but I didn't get... If you didn't see the piece, I mean, I can't explain it to you, but I don't understand, or I don't get the little midget that they had giving her a bottle of tequila.
No, I didn't see any of that. I did see that it was her birthday, but that was about all.
It was all over the national news, ABC, NBC.
Well, that's why I missed it. Hey, that's why I missed it, because I wasn't watching that crap.
Yeah, I mean,
and by the way, I didn't watch.
Univision is a big supporter of Hillary, and I understand him, but I just didn't get the midget and the bottle of tequila. I don't understand that.
I don't know that either, but I got to tell you, I may get to see it. If I accidentally turn it to ESPN, I might get to see it.
All right, Moon, have a great day.
All right, thanks for the call. Did you get a chance to look up the Tebow deal?
I did. It's like 15 minutes long. It's the only clip I could find.
No, when they first interviewed him, I think when Stephen A. came on pretty quick.
You want to just jump on it right away?
Tell you what you do. No, let me answer a phone call. Just glance through it real quick. If Stephen A. jumps up pretty quick, we'll play it. I mean, like I said, I watch my politics. I just turn on ESPN. Okay. Let's go to Lafayette. We'll go next. Let's go to Miss Sonia. Sonia, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Moon?
Doing fine, Chef.
Hey, I'm just wondering what in the world happened to Michael Moore. Did he have an exorcism performed on him or what?
I don't know, but he was tripping out on the right side for a change.
Yeah. I mean, I was shocked. I didn't believe it at first. I'm like, is this real?
Well, I read a deal the other day that if Trump's to get more black vote than he ever got. I know there's a bunch of black actors and people that are supporting him. Michael Moore. Nobody wants to vote for Hillary. People got to understand. They may have found out a reason to go vote against Trump. Nobody wants to vote for her. What are you getting with Hillary? Nothing. Nothing good. Nothing good at all.
Yeah, but hey, I was thrilled. I'm thrilled.
Well, it's interesting. All right, thanks. Appreciate it, Sonia. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling. All right, what you got?
Well, Tim, I got it ready for you. Tim
you got it with Stephen A.?
Well, they're going to do a quick little intro of Tebow.
Now, this is what they did. They brought him on to talk to him about the book.
Yes.
And I hope this jumps right on now. I'll let you get the phone, but let me listen to what we got. This is Tim Tebow yesterday on First Take. Stephen A. Smith, who I can't watch do anything.
To a minor league contract.
A force for sure. Our next guest really needs no introduction. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, a national champion, and now a multi-sport talent. His new book, Shaken, Discovering Your True Identity in the Midst of Life Storms, is available in stores and online right now. Tim Tebow joining us now from Arizona. Tim, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. How are you doing?
We are all good. And appreciate the time here. I want to talk about your move from the football field to the baseball diamond. It's been well chronicled, of course. What's been the hardest part, though, transitioning from football to baseball?
Well, it's a completely new sport. It's something that I didn't do competitively for 12 years, and so it's a huge transition. You know, it's something I think a lot of people just thought, oh, you know, you made this decision on a whim, but it's something that I thought about, I prayed about for a while, and it was something that was in my heart for a long time, and, you know, finally made the choice to do it, and I'm loving it. I'm so passionate about the sport, and I enjoy playing it. My two favorite things to do growing up was, one, to be a quarterback and have 10 other guys look at you in a huddle and lead them on a 2-minute drive to win the game, and the other one was to hit a baseball. And I love that one-on-one matchup. It's just fun, you know, and I'm honestly excited to be able to pursue something for the love of it.
Tim Tebow, good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Let me get right to it.
Stephen A.
Let me
Stephen A.
ask you a
can't
question.
stand him.
What, if you loved baseball so
listen to
much,
this question, folks.
How in goodness name did you go so long without playing the sport before deciding that you wanted to play the sport?
It's stupid.
Hey, Stephen A., have you ever loved more than one thing?
Yeah.
Do you love more than
he
one
hates
thing?
everything.
So,
Yes,
I mean,
I do.
sometimes you have to choose to do one, and it was the second hardest decision of my life when I chose to go to the University of Florida to play football and give up baseball. It was something that was, you know, it was heartbreaking for me, and there were several times at Florida that I almost went to play on the baseball team, but, you know, with everything we were doing in football and, you know, the goals and the championships we were trying to win, you know, I was staying focused on it. But then when the opportunity presented itself, and, you know, I had some people come look at me, and went to Boca Raton, Florida, and played with some different Latin guys, and felt like, hey, maybe I can do this thing. And, you know, so I decided to try to give it a shot because it never really left my heart. It was always with me.
Tim Tebow, I defend you on this show against Stephen A. Smith oftentimes, and you really turned my head around with your play in Denver when, look, we went 7-4, you won a playoff game. But when you say you love baseball and you love playing quarterback, you're known as a guy who inspires teammates. That you can make a unit greater than the sum of its parts, the whole greater, because you lift and inspire, and that makes you a team player. But when you say, I love hitting a baseball and I love playing quarterback, so if I can't play quarterback, then I just want to go into baseball.
You see what it's saying?
Do you see how some people would view that
Oh,
as
my God.
selfish in a way? I mean, it's your own happiness, but like, why doesn't he just go try to play something else in football? Because he's obviously a good football player. How do you respond to that?
Well, yeah, I totally get it, but I'm so thankful that I don't have to live. I don't have to live my life based on what other people want me to live. You know, if I was on a team and that team asked me to do something, I would do anything. But if I'm not on a team and a team offers me a contract to go sign with someone to play tight end, H-back, fullback, running back, whatever it is, and I've had a lot of those offers, well, I don't have to go sign with that. I'm not on their team, and so that's just making a professional decision to go do something that I didn't really have in my heart. It wasn't a dream. You know, I'm sure you've turned down contracts, Max. I know everybody wants you, and you've turned it down. Does that make you a bad team player because you turned down a contract with the team you were on?
In my case, maybe, Tim, but that's a very good distinction you're making.
All right, listen. Tebow's so cool. You see what the questions? And Stephen A. couldn't stand his guts. He likes Colin Kaepernick, who can't even play football, who, by the way, wore a picture of Fidel Castro at one of his press conferences. That's what you got. You got a guy right here. I ought to put him in the NFL. He'd probably be in the top 20 in quarterbacks. I mean, but they can't because he overrides everybody else. And he's class. And he's got a moral system and a value system. We can't have that on ESPN no more. Show me a tattoo and somebody's had 3 children out of wedlock and smoked dope and got in trouble. That's who we want. Or we'll protest the American flag. That's what we want. I accidentally ran through this. The only reason I saw it because I wanted to watch Tim Tebow. And then there's Stephen A. rear end. That dude is worthless. But, boy, he's got a nice little contract. All right. I said all that to say this. See you tomorrow.